Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to the match preview between Manchester United and Sunderland at Old Trafford on Saturday, guys. Guys, look, you know what? It's been a lot of chat about Manchester United, about Ruben Amorim's future. Is this going to be Ruben Amorim's last game? Is it? I mean, if he loses this game, surely that's it. I don't think he can drop any more points, in particular against teams like Sunderland, guys, in particular against games like this, when it is a must win, of course, guys. So we're going to be delving into that, guys. Before I start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video. If you guys can do that for me, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, look, when I think about Sunderland in general, Sunderland and Man United. Now, I've been to many games involving Manchester United. I've been to many games that involve rivalry. Sunderland is one of those how would I say it? One of those secret rivalries. I never forget when we lost the league title to Manchester City in the last game of the season when Aguero scored that goal. And I never forget the Sunderland fans that were cheering and you know, celebrating like they had won the league. And that stuck with me for a long time. And I remember what Alex Ferguson said. I remember Sir Alex Ferguson said that, you know what? Remember this time. Remember when Sunderland, the way Sunderland are cheering, make sure you get them relegated next season. I remember that. And I think that is the rivalry that I used to love. You know, such a deep rivalry. But it was because, you know what? We lost the league. We beat Sunderland. Unfortunately, QPR didn't stick to their end of the bargain and threw away the match, in my opinion. And the rest is history. But we did bounce back to win the league the next season. But Sunderland always has represented a little bit of an aggression to me. I've been to many games, Man United against Sunderland, and the fans have always been very noisy and vocal in regards to Sunderland. But I don't know why, whether that was a defense mechanism or something like that. It was just one of those games that, you know, it was a rivalry for them. But obviously, we see Sunderland, and I actually pitied Sunderland. I thought, oh, Sunderland, you know me, not even the biggest club in Newcastle, you know. And I was like, yeah, well, should I say Tyneside, Northeast. So I was like, you know what? Why did they hate us so much? Why are they so infatuated with us? Why did they dislike us so much? And it's obviously, it was always a jealousy. It was always a you know, a bitterness towards us because we are what they wished they were. And I never forget one fan. I was walking out the ground. We drew 0-0 with Sunderland. I think it was 2006. We drew 0-0 with Sunderland, and I was walking out. I was sitting on the south stand that day, and I remember walking out the stadium. And I remember at the full time, and the Sunderland fans were there, just there, and they were like, "You will never get back to where you were. Shame on you. You're never going to get back to where you were. You're never going to get back to there." And I was like, "Bloody hell!" You know, I was like, "Goodness." I was thinking, goodness me, these guys really hate us. They don't like us, do they? They really despise us with a passion. And this is what I was thinking, you know. So this one's made me think about the game on Saturday. And I honestly feel that every single Man United game should be like a final now, not least in regards to Sunderland. I think Ruben Amorim needs to treat this game like a final. He needs to treat this game like a must-win. As I said earlier this morning, I think he's on a rolling contract. I don't think he can make any more mistakes. I don't think he can lose any more games. I think that those days are over. You know, those games are over where he can afford to drop a couple of points, afford to not win a game and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So what I would say is this, guys. The obsession with Ruben Amorim is ridiculous. I post something on social media and someone has to make it about Ruben Amorim. It's ridiculous. And, you know, so I would say this, guys, we have to win on Saturday. That's the most important thing for me. Whatever the lineup, whatever the team, it's the most important thing for me. So, and it should be for everyone else. The winning the game should be the most important thing. It should be the be-all and end-all, is winning this game on Saturday. And you know what? It'd be great if we won the game handsomely. It'd be great if we won the game well. But I'm not saying that is the be-all and end-all. Man United have to win this game regardless how we win it. And that is what it's all about. We have to remember these small rivalries. And this is why I bring in these small rivalries to the table. Because small rivalries are everything what football is. You know, and everyone dislikes us. And I want everyone to remember this. Everyone dislikes us. They dislike us with a passion, you know. So it's very important that we put these fans in their place because they're no doubt they'll want nothing more than to rub the salt in the wound in regards to Ruben Amorim. This is a game that we should be winning. If we're going to win a game, if there's any game we should be winning, it's Sunderland at home in theory, right? I know that they started the season very well, but we need to win this game. We need to win this, and we need to put some points on the board. And you never know, guys. We beat Sunderland, and you never know. Something miraculous could happen. We can go and beat Liverpool, and then all of a sudden the narrative has changed and the feeling has changed. News circulating about Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is not happy in the number 8 position. We know that's coming from Ben Jacobs, who is a friend of the show. Ben Jacobs will be back on the show this month. Just keep an eye out for that as well, guys. So that was coming from Ben Jacobs, that he's not happy in that position. And we know that. So what does Ruben Amorim do? So I've always said it. I've been saying it for weeks now. Ruben Amorim needs to move Mbeumo to the right and move Bruno as the number 10, right? If he wants to stick to the system, move Mbeumo to the right and move Bruno into the number 10. That's what he needs to do. And then we can play Mainu, we can play Ugarte or Mainu and Casemiro in that midfield. It's simple as that, isn't it? Sounds simple enough. My lineup is there. I have dropped Bruno. Now, I've done something a little bit different, guys. I've done something a little bit different. I've actually not included Bruno in this game. I do believe he needs to be dropped. And I don't say that in a place of hatred. I don't say that in a place of a sinister mentality. I say that in a place of performance. I don't care if he's captain. I have no interest in that. At the end of the day, we should have 11 captains. That's what Man United used to always be, isn't it? We should have 11 captains. And we should be able to do without Bruno Fernandes for a game against Sunderland, you know? Now, I expect Bruno Fernandes to play, but this is the lineup that I think he should play. So I'm doing something different. Before, I would predict the lineup, but now I'm going to give you the lineup that I think he should play. And the lineup, on my side is what I think he should play. Something along these lines. And if he doesn't play that, I don't want to see Bruno Fernandes in the number 8. Bruno Fernandes needs to play the number 10, moving Mbeumo to the right. And Bremer's been a good performer this season. Keep Ahmed on the bench and use Ahmed as an impact player. In regards to the defence, whether it's Yoro or Mazraoui, I'm not too bothered about that. But I think Yoro should start this game along with De Ligt and Aiden Heaven. I think this is our future centre-backs. I do believe that. I think this is going to be our future centre-backs. This is going to be us for the foreseeable future. That should be us anyway for the foreseeable future. And we need to stop looking at the past. We need to stop looking at the Maguires and the Shaws and the Dallows. And we need to remove them completely from the team. You know, let me just turn on this. We need to move them completely from the team and start building something for the future. Because as I repeat myself, as I said over the last couple of shows, that the fans will believe in you more. The fans will believe in you more if you show them a vision. If you give them something that represents the future. Are you planning for the future? Are you thinking about how we're going to be in a few years? Because at the moment, it just looks like he's trying to self-perseverance. It's a bit like trying to keep it, stable. And that is not what gets you results. And that is not what ultimately gets you trophies and gets you up that league. There needs to be some bold decisions made. There needs to be some brave decisions made. And in this game against Sunderland, I actually believe Man United will win this game. My prediction is by 2-1. That is my prediction for this game. I think Man United will win the game 2-1. It won't be as easy as people think, but I think Man United will win this game. I think we'll win this game. And then we can go into that international break a little bit more enthusiastic. I know we got Liverpool coming up. So there's going to be a little bit of apprehension. There's going to be a little bit of cautiousness in regards to how we're feeling, because we're going to be nervous about the Liverpool game, because ultimately that's the most important thing at the moment, isn't it? Because we're looking at that game and thinking that could be the end of Ruben Amorim. And it has been the case with other managers. The Liverpool game has signified the end of various managers around, So what we have to do is beat what's in front of us. And Sunderland is one of those games. And I'm not going to get overly giddy. I'm not going to get overly enthusiastic. I'm not going to get overly zealous. If we beat them, I'll be happy. I will be more kind of infused in regards to the way I feel. I'll be a little more positive. I'm always positive, as you know. I'm always positive, but I would be a lot more enthusiastic if we beat Sunderland. We can go into that international break in a better frame of mind, because the toxicity is overflowing at the moment. The overflow of toxicity is ridiculous at the moment. Some of it is highly exaggerated, absolutely highly exaggerated. Do you know what I mean? So, look, really, really excited for the game. I got a feeling United will win the game. United have to win this game. Very important for Man United to win this game. And I hope that Ruben Amorim gets it right. And that is all I say. I hope he gets it right, and I hope he gets the 3 points, because ultimately that's what it's all about. Now, if we go into the game and we got Bruno in the midfield, and we got Luke Shaw, and we got Dalot, and we got Maguire playing, I'm going to be extremely disappointed, even if we win the game. And I'll tell you why. Because it would, again, represent a very short-term plan. It will be a short-term plan for me. I think he needs to think more on the long-term basis, not just the short-term planning. Because even if we win the game with those players, I'll be happy with the result. But I would be like, well, what's the future hold? He can't play this team against Liverpool. We get mullered. Do you know what I mean? And this is how I would feel. So he's really got to try and be brave and courageous. He really does. And it's not even being courageous, because when you're looking at Senny Lamens, let me just throw Senny Lamens in there. For example, Senny Lamens was breaking records in regards to corners coming, crossing, saves. He's breaking records in Europe for that. He's a 23-year-old. He's not a kid. He should be playing in that system. He should be playing in that team. And if he doesn't play on the weekend, I will be a little bit disillusioned to actually what we are doing here. What are we doing there? Why did we bring him in if we're not going to play him? He has to play on Saturday. Because if he's not going to play against Sunderland at Old Trafford, I really don't know when he's going to play. I really don't. And I just feel like we're just wasting our money. What's the point of doing all that? Do you know what I mean? We're just bloody wasting our money. It's ridiculous. And let me just say hello to everyone in the stream. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome, guys. I hope everyone is good, of course. Hope everyone is blessed. Let me just say hello to the members. How you doing, Darryl? How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Afternoon, Sal, and everyone. Yeah, it's a needed win now. Drop them useless players, and we got to change the motion. I agree, mate. And as you can see from my lineup, I've actually changed the narrative, and I've actually picked a line that I think he should play, more or less. This is what I think. I would probably move Mbeumo to the right, if I'm being honest, but that's just me. But this is the lineup that I would like to see, something along those lines. I want to see some bravery. As I said, I want to see some bravery. I want to see some courageous decisions here. Because even the great Alex Ferguson made changes, and he made changes that weren't popular. They weren't always popular, but he done them, and he felt the wrath of the fans sometimes. But more times than not, he got the results, didn't he? He got the results, and he made it happen at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And I would say that, look, the Bruno midfield position, he's not happy in the midfield, so don't play him. Bruno plays in a number 10 or doesn't play at all, and that is just the way it should be. I even feel in the number 10 position, Bruno goes missing and he's ill-disciplined, even in the number 10 position. But we'll get into that another time, because I think he's all-round a ill-disciplined player. That's it. I think even in the number 8, he's ill-disciplined. But I also think in the midfield position, he's also ill-disciplined. He's also a little bit all over the place. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. And hopefully, Ruben Amorim learns his lesson, and hopefully we get this done. We get this game won, of course, guys. That's what's most important. Grayo, good afternoon. Good morning, Grayo. How you doing, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. So afternoon, brother. I hope you're well. It's shit or bust for Amorim for this Sunderland game. I wish we could start being a manager and drop the usual suspects that's killing the game at United. Repeat, rinse and repeat, Grayo. I know, brother. I've said it about 1,000 times now, what he needs to do. And my lineup suggests this. He needs to make brave decisions. And, you have to start mentioning the board as well, Grayo, because this is what the board did. Brit, born and bred, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, born and bred, Maybe we should get some Arabs, isn't it, Grayo, in charge. Maybe they'll do something, because that's what they do. They build things, don't destroy things, and this is what I'm talking about. It's so annoying. When I see Sir Jim Ratcliffe and I see Ineos and they just gone completely silent with Ruben Amorim. They've gone completely, you can't hear them anymore. It's a disgrace what they've done. Now, in regards to Ruben Amorim will be sacked, and we'll still be in the same position regardless anyway. He needs to make changes. Of course he does. Ultimately, he needs to win the game, and I hope he does. And that's all I say. I hope he wins the game, and I hope he goes on to win against Liverpool. And if he beats Liverpool, then everyone is going to be like, yeah, at last, finally, we've arrived, And I won't be too confident, but it is a problem. It is a problem. Everything is a problem at this football club, not just Ruben Amorim, like I said. Ruben Amorim is just a small part of it, and people forgetting that, It's a small part of it. We played the 4-3-3s. We played the 4-2-3-1s. We've done all that business over the years. and it hasn't worked, and I just feel like there's so much that meets the eye in regards to Man United at the moment, and there's so many problems at Man United at the moment, I know deep with this football club. I'm deep with this football club. I mean deep. Tactically, players, everything. I am deep with this football club. From the reserves all the way to the top, right? I'm deep, right? And I've been like that for years with this football club. I've been to over 500 games, Grayo, and, I've seen a lot. I've slept on beaches. I've been to the unknown. I've been to the wilderness. I've seen a lot at this football club. Met a lot. Some of them have come to my brother's gigs, some players. And I know a lot of the players, and I know how they feel, and I know how I feel, and it's a disgrace how this football club is being run. It's a disgrace that we don't recognize our football club anymore, and hopefully the narrative changes at the weekend. I hope, Grayo, I hope it changes, and I hope we're not coming back here next week repeating ourselves, because I'm tired of it, you're tired of it, and we know what needs to happen. We know what needs to go on with this football team. We all know, don't we? But it's up to Ruben Amorim. If Ruben Amorim picks the same team as he picked against Brentford, then we all know what he's doing here. He's trying to get sacked. Or he's just incredibly cowardice. Something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I do hope we don't get any toxicity here this week. For me, I do these streams twice a day. It's tiring, toxicity. Toxic negativity. Negativity is tiring. It's exhausting, Grayo. It is exhausting. And, especially when you see fans out there who are just concentrating on one narrative, and they got this anti-Amorim thing, and it just rumbles on and rumbles on, and it just becomes exhausting, and it becomes tiring, I would say, Grayo. And it really is. And it's hard to remain happy. It's hard to remain enthusiastic. It's hard to remain confident. I will always back the team. Like I said, we're going to win the game, but I just feel like very, very, I don't know how to put my finger on it. Very, very disillusioned, about football and the football team, and I just feel like I'm tired of it. I feel like we've been going through this for 50 years. I feel like we've been going through this for longer than we have. I mean, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left the football club, I feel like it's been like that, bro. And I just feel like it's been going on for longer. Big up, Grayo, you legend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me today, my bro. I hope you're well, of course. And big up Old House, guys. Really, really appreciate everyone who's joined me today, guys. Really appreciate it for the match preview. Guys, big up everyone, guys. Big up Tyborg. No longer is a missing persons act, because what was going on, Tyborg? Hope you're doing well, mate. Hello, everyone, writing from the hospital. This is now dedicated. I am. Tyborg, listen, bro, I messaged you the other day. I hope you're doing well, brother. My prayers and thoughts are always with you, mate. All the time, mate. I understand how you're feeling. I lost my granddad this year, as you know. And, these things are not easy, especially family issues. But I'm wishing you all the best. My prayers with you. My positive energy is going out to you. And you know what? I really hope that Man United can do something for you, brother, this weekend. I really do. And hopefully you win this game. We win this game, and we can be a little bit more positive, It's very hard for me because, even I can imagine for Tyborg as well in the football sense, because we're very positive people in general, and it's very hard for us to go from the depths of the sea and trying to be positive about the football club, and it's very, very difficult at the moment, guys. But yeah, that's what it is. Teddy, Teddy, what's going on, brother? I hope you're doing well. Big up, long time no see, my friend. I hope you're doing well, Sal. So what happens if we lose? What happens, Teddy? It's over. You can't lose against Sunderland, mate. It's Ruben Amorim out if it's over. Can't lose this game. He literally has to win. He literally has to get 4 points in the next two games, because obviously I'm counting Liverpool. Liverpool's a difficult game. He literally has to get 4 points in the next two games, literally. And one of those wins has to be Sunderland, because I don't think the fan base are going to accept a draw or loss against Sunderland. And this is what I'll say, Teddy. And unfortunately, he's backed himself into a corner, and he's produced this situation for himself, obviously, because of the team lineups and the teams that he's been playing. He's been stubborn with it. Now, I actually think, guys, that in the long run, given his players, if these players came in, I actually think he'll be a successful manager for Man United. I really do. I actually think he will be a successful manager for Man United. But I don't think he's going to be given the time. I don't think he's going to be given the players, and I don't think he's going to be given the time. I do think he will be a success if we were patient. But when Man United, we don't have that amount of patience anymore. We've been 12, 15 years. And Man United fans, right? Us as Man United fans, we don't want to see miracles here. We want to see simplicity. We want to see, not simplicity, how would I say it? We want to see improvement, right? That's what we want to see. And we want to see a Man United that is challenging. We're not necessarily saying Man United must challenge for the league. Man United must go for it, blah, blah, blah. We're saying that we want to see a Man United team up in the top half of the table with a chance. With a chance. Do you know what I mean? I would say, and I really hope we get that. I really hope we get that. And starting on Saturday, guys. And we can go into the international break without having to worry too much. We will worry when we get to Liverpool. Of course, I really want to beat Liverpool. It's incredibly important that we beat Liverpool. We owe Liverpool one. We need to beat Liverpool. We owe them a game. We haven't beaten them in ages. They've beaten us at Anfield many times. We need to change the record, guys. And we need to stop doing what's expected of us these days, which is losing these type of games. We did well last season in certain games. In fact, we did better in last season. But obviously, Licha Martinez played in that game. You know what I mean? And he scored the equaliser. We drew 2-2 and it's a draw. Big up Kenny. What's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Big up Sal. They're definitely starting, unfortunately. Who's your source, Kenny? Who's your source? No, I don't think he will start. I don't think he will start at buying it. Kenny. Don't speculate, Kenny, because you don't know. He's going to start, unfortunately. Don't do that, Kenny, because you don't have any sources, bruv. So please try and be a little bit more like up there, mate. Because you don't know. At the end of the day. Tyborg, we need points without a win. Amram will be gone and it will be the same story again. Tyborg, you know the score, don't you? You know the situation that Man United are going to be in if Ruben Amram loses and then he gets sacked, or if we draw and he gets sacked. We know what's going to happen. We're just going to get another manager in and it's going to be the same old, isn't it? And I've completely given up hope with new managers. All I'm caring about at the moment is just Man United winning games. I'm just thinking about winning. That's all I'm thinking about. Win the game and that's it. And I think that's what we should be thinking about at the moment. I don't want another manager. I'm tired of it. I don't know about you, Tybo, but I just feel exhausted. I feel fed up with it. Do you know what I mean? As you can imagine right now, I'm feeling tired of it. Feeling just a lack of patience now. A lack of patience, a lack of any will to care about the manager situation and stuff, because I've seen it all. I've seen it all before. We've all seen it all before, look, we're getting bantered left, right, and center. Every single channel I go on, and they act like they don't love it, but these other channels, they love it, guys. They love the fact that Man United are down in the dumps at the moment. Some of them are so-called Man United fans. They love the fact that we're down in the dumps at the moment. They love the fact that we're losing games and we are where we are, because we probably cost them a lot of pain over the years, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. But as you know, and as many people in this stream, you've got people like Grayo, who's been a fan for 50 years. People like me, who's been a fan for 40 years. People like Tyborg, who's been a fan a long, long time as well. We've got people in this community who supported this football club a very long time, and we've seen a lot of things, right? Man United and Alex Ferguson did come 15th. They came 16th, Alex Ferguson and stuff. But what Alex Ferguson had, he had a plan and he had an idea. He almost got sacked, but you can always see his plan and his idea when he first came into Man United. He took brave decisions, very brave decisions. And that's ultimately why Man United fans gave him 5 years to win a trophy, because obviously you could see what he was trying to do. You could see the avenues he was trying to take. He made some very, very brave decisions. You're thinking about Paul McGrath, Gordon Strachan, and Clayton Blackmore, Jim Leighton, players of that ilk. He made massive decisions, huge decisions, And this is what I want to see from Ruben Amram. This is what I want to see from Ruben Amram. On Saturday, I'm not telling him to rip it all up and play a completely new 11, right? I'm telling him, to make the changes that he needs to make, and that's what I would say about that. Absolutely. He needs to make the changes that he needs to make, which will give him a much more better opportunity in winning these games, guys. And that's what I would say. We know bringing a new manager, there's no real manager out there that stands out for me. There's no manager out there that I look at and I think, wow, this is the guy. This guy is going to be a generational. This guy is the man. No manager out there at the moment brings that to me, gives me that feeling. No one. We're looking at managers and it's very, very low hanging fruit at the moment in regards to the manager situation. And we've got no Jose Mourinho's, no Jurgen Klopp's, no Pep Guardiola's, no Ancelotti's. None of these managers are available at the moment. We've got nobody. So we're really looking at the low hanging fruit at the moment in regards to Nagel, Xavi, in regards to Zidane, in regard, and Glasner and players of that and managers of that ilk. Now, bringing in Glasner, because there's a lot of talk about Glasner at the moment. Glasner said in an interview that he plays a four at the back. His best formation is a four at the back, but Glasner hasn't played a four at the back since 2021, right? So it's quite obvious that Glasner has adopted the 3-4-2-1, which he's playing with Crystal Palace at the moment. And if Glasner comes into Manchester United, it will be a 3-4-2-1, I think. I believe it will be. I don't think he's going to go back to reverting into a 4, which he hasn't played for the last 4 years, and that's what I would say about it. I think it is a risk with Glasner, and I think Glasner will be sacked. Grayo, only 16 likes. Grayo, you legend. Thank you, brother. Look, you know what? Grayo's a legend of Stretford Post, guys. Listen, smash a like on the video, guys, please. Really appreciate that. Guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well. Very, very important. And become a member as well, guys. Let's not forget to support the channel as well, guys. I do this for free, and it's nice if people support the channel. Thank you so much, Grayo, who always supports the channel. Much love, brother. Absolutely. And guys, look, so to bring it back, against Sunderland, I said 2-1 to Man United. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I hope it's an easy game. I think I'm tired of the negativity and the anxiety that I have to go through in games these days. We've been there together. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, last season and this season, we really thought that we had enough last season. We thought we suffered enough last season, didn't we? We thought we had enough. We thought we've already had all the suffering. We've already had all the suffering there. We thought that was it. We suffered enough. Obviously not. Obviously not. Kenny, 17, Nani, Lewis Nani, one of the most underrated players of all time. One of them. I mean, you look at someone like Lewis Nani. Funny, Kenny should say that, because you look at someone like Lewis Nani. And Lewis Nani, if he came into Man United lineup right now, he'd probably be our best player. Do you know what I mean? When you're thinking about it, guys, he'd probably be our best player right now. If Nani walked into the football club right now, he'd be our best player. It's mad, isn't it, that he was a bench option at Man United. Fantastic player, though. Don't get me wrong. An absolutely brilliant player, an absolute game changer, But, yeah, fantastic player. Lewis Nani, absolutely. Guys. Saviour saying 2-0. Absolutely. Big up Saviour. Thank you so much, my guy. 2-0, says Saviour. Vishwa, bringing a new manager doesn't guarantee 3 points every game. Hopefully we don't get a new manager every game, but hopefully we get a manager, once, in a while, So, no, I know what you mean. Sacking managers doesn't guarantee results. I know that. And unfortunately, though, this is the nature of the beast. This is the nature of football. This is what football is, at the end of the day. And sacking is part of the game. Even though a manager's duty, guys, a manager's job is incredibly overrated, by the way. And there is far more things that go on behind the scenes that people don't know about in regards to the managerial position, but the manager gets the blame because the manager is the front cover of the situation. He picks the team. I do feel in a sinister kind of way, in a controversial conspiracy theory kind of way, that, how do I say it? Some of the people at the top forcing Ruben Amorim to play certain players because of the wages they're on, the valuation of the player, etc. Tyborg, Glasner changed to a 3 at the back as soon as he took over at Crystal Palace. He also played a 3-4-2-1 at Frankfurt. I really don't believe he is the right man, but you never know. Tyborg, when you're looking at Glasner, and we have to look at things realistically, he said he likes a 4-4-2, but he hasn't played that since 2021. As you said, he started playing it for Frankfurt. And Ruben Amorim's better at that formation than him. People say, oh, but look at what he's doing for Crystal Palace. So what? Ruben Amorim's played it in the Champions League and beaten the likes of Barcelona, PSG, Manchester City 4-1. You know, Glasner is a Crystal Palace manager. He reminds me of a Crystal Palace manager. His personality is a Crystal Palace man. Now, you put Glasner and you put him alongside the likes of Bruno. You know, you put him alongside Bruno. Think about the two differences in personality there. Glasner focuses more on work ethic. That's one of his big things, is work ethic. And he's spoken before about formations. Formations are overrated. He said it himself. It's not about the formation. It's about the work ethic of the football team and stuff like that. He spoke about that. I honestly feel if you've got the likes of Bruno, Dalot, Shaw, Maguire at this football club, they're going to eat him up alive, just like Ruben Amorim. Let's not forget that Ruben Amorim is probably, when he came in, I called him the smiling assassin. He's probably one of the most ruthless managers that you're going to see, you know? And here we are. The football club is a toxic mess from top to bottom. From top to bottom, the football club is a toxic mess. And I think Glasner, and I hope I'm wrong, if he does come into the football club, I will support him with everything I have. People know that about me. But what I would say is that I think he's too soft. The Tyborg, you said it yourself. I think he's too soft for the managerial job. I think it's just too soft. Grayo, Sal, I remember vividly at the end of the 2011-12 season, as I was watching the game in a bar in Mallorca. Oh, look at you, Grayo. The hatred from the Sunderland fans, they were heard. Aguero scoring the winner was disgusting, bro. Yeah. You'd be surprised how bad Sunderland are, Grayo. And I've been to about 10 Sunderland Man United games. And every time I've seen Man United against Sunderland, there's always this hostility. And I remember going to Old Trafford. I remember going into Costa Coffee. There are other coffee cuisines, blah, blah, blah. But I remember going into Costa Coffee. And they were giving it large. Yeah. And I thought, bloody hell, are we playing Man City? Are we playing Liverpool? Are we playing Arsenal? What's going on here? You know? And let's not forget, I come from London, right? So I used to get the train up from Manchester, London Euston. It used to be King's Cross. It used to be London Euston. It went to King's Cross and Pancras. So I used to get the train up to Manchester Piccadilly. And when the Man United would play London teams, they used to split the train in half. And they used to have, for example, Chelsea will have half the train, and Man United fans will have half the train because, as we know, Cockney Manx and stuff like that. And there's a lot of Man United fans that come from London. And we used to have a little bit of banter here and there when we used to see Chelsea fans and stuff like that. But I've never seen, or Arsenal fans, etc. But I've never seen, like, Sunderland fans are the worst. One of the worst I've witnessed. And I've seen the Romas. I've seen the Leeds. I've seen the Liverpools. I've seen these teams. Sunderland, I don't know whether they're over-emphasizing themselves. I don't know whether it's a defense mechanism because they are just Sunderland. I don't know why it is that, but they don't like us. Who does? We're hated, adored, never ignored. That's Man United's motto. But their hatred is forced. So please, United, at the weekend, I beg you, I beg you guys, beat Sunderland. Smash them up. You know, bring them down to earth a few pegs. You know, the Black Cats is what they're called, of course. Tyborg, Sal, would you like an idea of Keno as an assistant manager besides Amorim or any new manager? Yeah. I think I would like someone. I spoke a couple of times about the number two manager's dual position, and I know I keep banging on about it, but I spoke about Sir Alex Ferguson and how he relied on a number two. Now, Sir Alex Ferguson, whether it was Brian Kidd, whether it's Steve McLaren, whether it's Carlos Queiroz, whether it's Phelan, Sir Alex Ferguson always had someone beside him who he could trust. Not only that, someone who knew the football club, right? Carlos Queiroz is the only one who didn't work at some point in his life or play for Man United. But Alex Ferguson always had someone by his side that he could trust, wholeheartedly he could trust, you know? I don't see that Ruben Amorim. I don't see anyone by Ruben Amorim's side. Now, I actually think that if he got a Roy Keane in there as an assistant manager, for example, or a coach, I think it'll make a huge difference. I think there will be players in that dressing room who will be scared to step out of line with Roy Keane there, because Roy Keane is straight down the middle. Roy Keane is straight down the middle, you know, no nonsense. No nonsense. And I think we need that. The problem is, and this is why I doubt Glasner. This is why I doubt Glasner, because I know that Glasner's a good manager. I'm not saying he's a poor manager, but what I'm saying is that these players, they take weakness as they take kindness as a weakness, kind of thing. They take kindness as a weakness. This is what these players do, and they've been doing this for many managers and stuff like that. Kindness for a weakness, you know. And you can't have that at this Man United. There needs to be a change, you know. And Glasner's a very soft manager, and I fear that he would get trod on. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got trod on. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United legend, got thrown under the bus. Thrown under the bus. That guy's won Champions Leagues, guys. That guy's won endless titles. And they threw him under the bus. What makes these people think they're not going to throw Glasner under the bus, you know? Yeah, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are not expected anything. They're not one of those teams like Man United who are expected to win things. Do you know what I mean? They're a team that are happy to be in mid-table or pushing up, you know, for the European positions. There's no pressure on Crystal Palace, I'm trying to say, you know? And this is the difference, you know? If Ruben Amorim fouls, who is a known ruthless guy, what makes you think that Glasner's gonna succeed? Now, if Ruben Amorim fails, which he's currently doing, the only person that I look at out of the whole of Europe at the moment, and he's not my favorite manager, is Antonio Conte. He's the only one I look at and I think, that guy, you know, he's got a ruthless side to him, and that guy won't be happy until he gets his players in. But one thing about Conte, he's a short-term manager, isn't he? He's not one of those managers who are going to be there for a long time. Daryl, no, I don't. I made a little bit of a difference today. I think Grayo gave me a little bit of a hint, and I thought, yeah, let me today pick the team that I think he should play. This is what I think he should play. Now, I was a bit conflicted. I was going to play Bruno in the number 10 and moving Bremo to the right. Okay, but I thought he won't be that dramatic. So I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway here. So what I'm saying is this, right? That is the team that I think he should play. That's not the team I think he will play. I don't think he'll play that team. I think by kickoff tomorrow, kickoff on Saturday, so I keep thinking it's Friday. By kickoff on Saturday, I think we're not going to be looking at that team and thinking, yeah, get in, Ruben. He's been ruthless. Yes, get in. I don't think it's going to be that. I think we're going to be like, yeah, you know, he's done it again, hasn't he? You know, he's done it again. And I don't want to feel that way because I just want to enjoy the game. Do you know what I mean? Big up, Benny. Amorim did say last year that he was going to have a chat with Roy Keane. No idea if that meeting ever happened. It should happen. When I'm talking about at the beginning of the season, let's just say when Ruben Amorim first walked into the football club, okay? You know, you remember when Ruud van Nistelrooy was there, and many of us were saying he should keep Ruud van Nistelrooy. Now, a lot of people, in fairness, were saying that it's going to undermine Ruben Amorim, that he knows the players too well, blah, 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 and I understood that. But I said at the time, right, that he should have at least kept Ruud van Nistelrooy for a couple of months or something, for a few weeks or a couple of months, just to kind of settle the ship, you know, just to kind of settle the ship a little bit. That's what I said at the time. I think that someone like Roy Keane coming into this football club, who won't take any nonsense, who won't be pally with the players, who won't be hugs and kisses. I think someone like Roy Keane will be absolutely a game changer for Man United. I really do think that. I think he'll be a game changer for Man United. I really do think that. And I think, why not try it? We haven't tried it yet. We haven't tried it yet. So why not do that? Big up Dao out. Absolutely. That's what he should do. Whether he do that or not, no. I'm not saying it should be that lineup and that is the end. That's the over. It should be that lineup and I don't want nothing else. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that something along those lines he should be thinking about picking, in my humblest of opinions. Something along those lines, of course. Vishwa. Jose Mourinho last won a league with Ria Fora as his number 2. Yeah. You need a number 2 that you can trust. And when Ria Faria left Mourinho's side, Mourinho was never the same, was he, Vishwa? But Mourinho was never the same. And you need to have that guy next to you that you can rely upon. When things are going, look, you're a human being at the end of the day. You're not going to get everything right, And, you need to have that guy there who's going to be whispering in your ear. He's going to be whispering in your ear, say, listen, mate, you know what? I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I don't think he's playing well. You think you should substitute and bring him on and stuff like that. That kind of thing, You need it. Because when I look at Ruben Amorim, he just looks like a lone figure on the touchline. It just looks like one of those lone figures on the touchline. And I feel sorry for him at times, Grayo, Sal, Karen's birthday today. So can you wish her a happy birthday going to Tempe for the weekend? Wow, you lucky thing. Listen, Karen, big up, Karen. I hope you're doing well. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Karen. Happy birthday to you. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. All right, I don't want to say too many hip, hip, hoorays. I know I don't want to say it 25 times. I know you're 25 years old, but I'm not going to say many more hip, hip, hoorays than that. But hopefully, Man United win the game for Karen's birthday. That's what it said. And make sure you look after Grayo. Yeah, absolutely. Big up. Absolutely. Vishwa, Glasgow is 100 times better manager than David Moyes. Not saying he would be perfect for us, but he's not a bad manager at all. He's a kind of gentleman. Yeah, he's a much better manager than David Moyes. Yeah, of course he is. He is. I mean, David Moyes was one of the worst things to happen to Man United. I gave a story, and I think the story came from Rio Ferdinand. Right, I don't quote much from Rio Ferdinand. I don't. I try not to anyway, because it does dumb me down a little bit. But what's resonated with me, a story about David Moyes, was Rio Ferdinand. It was after a friendly game, right? And David Moyes had just gone to Man United. He's brand new at the football club. So they got on the aeroplane, and David Moyes had his tie undone, and he was leaned back on the seat. He was leaned like this on the seat, right? He was on the seat like this, leaned back. And he looked at Rio Ferdinand and he said, "Core, this is a big club, isn't it?" That's when you know that he was never the right guy for Man United. It was at that moment that he lost the dressing room. I mean, I've got other stories as well, but that is one of the moments, right? The club was too big for him. Now, I would love to have a different, how would I say it? I would love to go back in time, and in hindsight, and basically change the course of history. Imagine we got Ancelotti. Imagine we got Pep. Imagine we got Klopp. Imagine where we would be right now. And this is what the butterfly effect is, isn't it? This is the butterfly effect. And you think about it, and it's so frustrating because it was such a big decision when Alex Ferguson left the football club. It was such a big decision, probably the biggest decision in our history. And it's proven to be the biggest decision in our history, because I don't quite think we've recovered from that. When you go into, when you lose a manager of Sir Alex Ferguson's magnitude, right? And you bring in an Everton manager, right? When you got players like Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, Robin van Persie, Michael Carrick, Ryan Giggs was still playing, Matrice Evra, you still got those players at the football club who've won everything. You needed to make the transition as smooth as possible. As smooth as possible. And I don't think I think the David Moyes thing was the worst thing to do. The worst thing. Absolutely. Eddie Howe's a rugby manager. Yeah, he's a good talker. That's about it. I agree. A good manager, but United would be too big for him, in my opinion. These players would destroy him in a couple of hours. I'm worried about Glasner, Tyborg. I'm worried about him. As we've said over and over again, with every new manager that has walked into this football club, we know that this manager needed to be backed and they needed their own players, you know? And that's what I would say about that. You know, every manager that's come in has not had their own players, a full squad of their own players. Every manager that has come into this football club has had a backlog of players that have been playing for this football club for 10 years. Some of them have been way back in Louis van Gaal days. You know what I mean? We got players there from the Louis van Gaal days. It's crazy. You know, it is really ridiculous when you're thinking about it, you know? Ruben Amorim needed a full rebuild. As I said many times over this last couple of weeks, if I was Ruben Amorim, the first thing I would have done when I walked into that football club is said, right, who's been here the longest? I want a list of all the players who's been here the longest, right? And I would have got that list and said, okay, we're going to go all the way up to this present day. Well, let's go up to about the last season of Erik ten Hag. Right, we're going to go all the way up until there. And we're going to say that every single player that has played beyond the last season of Ten Hag, before that, I don't want to see him here anymore. I don't want him at the football club anymore. And I think that is what he should have done. I think that is what should have been done at the football club, because these players, they're serial losers. And they've got a habit of losing, you know? Let me just read out Kenny's team. I don't want to ignore Kenny's team because I am a nice guy, Kenny. So I never ignore Kenny, of course. Kenny, your lineup is Lamens, Euro, Delict, Heaven, Mainu, Casemiro, Zorgu, Diallo, Cunha, Bremo, Sesko. Perfect, mate. Perfect. Yeah. I have no bones with that team. I look at that team and I think, yeah, future. It's not hard, is it? You know, we all know it. I look at that team and I think, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. You know what I mean? You know? Daryl, Roy Keane would be a positive move for this, right? I think so. I think it will. There's something about Roy Keane that separates him from all the other legends. Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, all these legends, right? There's something different about Roy Keane. He reminds me of a guy who just doesn't take any crap, you know? And that is what we need. The biggest concern with Ruud van Nistelrooy is that I can see him being pally with the players. I can see the same with Gary Neville, with Paul Scholes, with Michael Carrick. I can see them being pally with the players and being overly friendly with the players, you know? I can see that. And I don't think Man United need that. Man United need someone who's a disciplinarian, someone who's not going to take any shit, someone who's going to go into the football club and just rip it up and say, listen, you ain't performing. You know? I've heard many stories about when certain players walk into the football club, and Roy Keane was one of the main players who used to make them known that what football club they were at. He was a big thing. He was a manager on the pitch, they used to say, isn't it? Proper captain, man. And I think we need someone like that. He would shut Bruno up, all that crybaying and pointing your finger. If he turned around, right, let's give you an example. If Bruno Fernandes turned around and criticized Lenny Yoro, Roy Keane would have him. He would have him in the dressing room. 100%. It would not, you would not get away with it. He would not get away with it for doing that. Absolutely not. And so be it. Absolutely spot on. I think it'd be a great move. I think he should come into the end of the season. That would be great, isn't it? See how it goes and stuff like that. Absolutely. Happy birthday to Karen. Let's not forget Karen, absolute legend, of course. Absolutely. Big up LT, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. As long as we still have serial failures who have sacked 2 managers before Amorim, we will never have consistent performance. Amorim just needs to drop them because they are criminals. Yes, LT. And some of them have been there 10 years, brother. Bruno, Dalot have been there, 6 years? 6 years. Didn't Bruno come in 2017, guys? 8 years, nearly. 8 years, nearly a decade. You know, and people are getting so sentimental and mushy about these players, you know? It's ridiculous, isn't it? It is ridiculous. These players have been there too long. They've been failing for too long. It should be over now. We've hugged on to these players for far too long now. It should be over, you know, now, in my opinion. He don't take any shit. Absolutely, Daryl. Absolutely not. He doesn't. And this is something that I like Roy Keane about. You can trust Roy Keane. You can trust Roy Keane to tell you the truth. Roy Keane won't sugarcoat it. He won't sugarcoat anything. And I think that was great. And I think that this gets brushed off very easy because at the moment, I'm looking at that bench on Man United and I'm looking behind Ruben Amorim. I'm seeing no one get up and take authority or take a responsibility to go up to Ruben Amorim and say, Ruben, blah, 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 blah. Just a little bit of a helping hand. You know, someone there, he's got your back. I don't see any of them there. Like I said this morning, it's like they got a toothpick. Yeah, Glingo. Yeah, with a toothpick, like Razor Ramon. Like the toothpick. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they're like. They're sitting at the back doing nothing. I'd much rather have Roy Keane in there. I'd much rather have someone like that in there than those guys are just sitting there and just twiddling their thumbs, you know? Big up Daryl. Roy Keane would sort this team out shreds, mate. He's an old school guy, isn't he? He's old school. He's something that we need. You know, I said it this morning, and big up the great people of Ireland, by the way. Love them. And what I would say is that we don't have Irish players anymore. And we used to have a very big history, whether it's Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland. We used to have a big Irish contingent, right? And it seems like we've moved away from that, you know, a little bit. And I don't know why we've moved away from that. We always used to have an Irish contingent. You know, I mean, you just need to look at Dennis Irwin and Roy Keane, you know. Now we're looking at who's the last Irishman to play for Man United. I mean, obviously we think of Gibson, Johnny Evans, who's Northern Irish. That's about it. We don't have many now. And why don't we have any now? Because we have a great history with Ireland. And I think we need to look at that a little bit more. And a lot. I'm not just saying that because, you know what, it's Ireland and we have a history of Ireland and they speak English and I'm not saying that because of that. I'm saying that because Irish people, right, they understand Man United, a lot of them, you know, and a lot of them have a very old school mentality, like in regards to disciplinarian and being disciplined. Their values and morals are, I hold them on the pedestal. I hold them up there for what they're doing around the world, what Celtic have done, what other Irish entities have done politically, everything. I hold them in such high regard and respect. And I think that Roy Keane would demand the respect of that dressing room. Roy Keane. Because he's not just, look at me, I've won the Champions League, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're all mates here, we're all friends, mates, rates. He will call you out in that dressing room. He wouldn't go to the media. He wouldn't go to the media and start slagging you off. He will call you out in that dressing room. In that dressing room. If you don't do something right. And he will make sure you don't do it again. You know? Big up, Daryl. Imagine signing Fellaini over Gundogan, Kupuri at least. It's madness, you know. It was a madness. But that wasn't David Moyes' fault. I wouldn't blame him completely. I'm done with Bruno now, bro. Me too, brother. Me too. I am. As you can tell that I'm completely finished with that Bruno narrative. You know, there was a long time I was backing Bruno for a long time. Everyone knows I used to work in a hospital in Surrey. And I used to work with Bruno's brother. And I worked with Bruno's brother for 2 years. So I know the family, you know? And even me, I don't care about these sentiments. I care about Manchester United, even though I know them. I know Ricardo. I know them, you know? And I know that he's probably one of Man United's worst captains of all time. I know that he's playing bad football and he should be dropped. There's no sentiments for me because I'm Manchester United through and through. And this is what I would say, you know? Here we are. Jaffa, greetings, mate. I believe Amorim is going to make changes if he wants to stay and prove himself. If he chooses the same squad, then I believe he's moving on. I believe this is what will happen. Jaffa, I agree with you, mate. Absolutely agree with you. I agree with that opinion. I think I like to hope, Jaffa, I like to hope that he picks a different team. All right. I'm not saying just change the whole 11. I'm saying just the obvious ones. Just move it around a little bit. You know what I mean? Show us that you're actually trying to change it. Show us that you're actually thinking about the future. That's what I would say, you know. We want to see something that gives us hope for the future. Not we're turning back to the same old chapters as it has been for the last 10 years, it seems, you know. I hope he does that, Jaffa. And if he does pick the same lineup, I'm absolutely agree with you. It would just signify to me that he's trying to get the sack. And that's what it is, you know. The headlines of Bruno versus, I mean, there'll be bust-ups, absolutely. Grayo, you've made Karen very happy, brother. Thank you. You're welcome, brother. I'm glad. Please, everyone, can you smash the likes and subscribe and show appreciation? Thank you so much, Grayo. You're a legend, mate. You know what, Grayo? Can I say something, man? I wish you a lovely weekend and I wish you a lovely time, mate, because it's very difficult as a Man United fan at the moment. I'm actually annoyed, mate, sometimes, you know. I'm actually angry. You know, and I never wanted to be like this, but I'm actually fuming deep down in my soul, deep down in my heart. I am very angry about what's going on right now. Fuming. Every single tweet I see, it's just annoying me. Everyone, this Ruben Amorim thing annoys me because I know that a lot of these people don't really understand the football club. They may be right about Ruben Amorim, but they don't understand the football club, you know? And that's what I would say, you know, and it is so annoying. The player I mentioned, I was the first one to mention it, Daryl, again. Oscar Carrasco, of course, yeah. We signed a young 17-year-old defender, yeah. Central midfielder, I think. Obviously a defender, one of them. But yeah, I mentioned him first on Stretford Post. It was me who mentioned it. I was the first one to do it. I won't get the praise, of course not, you know, but people copy me. I don't really ask for clout, but just make sure you spread the word. Say that it's Stretford Post first one, because he's on my, you know, I mentioned him a couple of weeks ago. You know, yeah. I like these signings, but it's not going to change anything for me because I'm looking at Kone, I'm looking at Chido Obi Martin, I'm looking at these players and Leon, and we haven't played them, you know. So he's just going to come in next year. And you know, we need someone for now, don't we? Don't we, Daryl? We need someone for now, you know, not the past, you know. Dalot 17, Bruno 19, if I'm not wrong, 6 years exactly. 8 years for Dalot. Wow. Wowee. Wowee. Unbelievable. 8 years for Dalot. My goodness me. He would have been moved on a long time ago under Alex Ferguson. That is crazy when you think about it, isn't it? You know. RJ, I really wish got Gundogan back in 2014. I wish as well, of course. Benny, here's a fact, Sal. Man United have never won a league without at least one Irishman in the team. Irish and Man United, a bit like Norwegians. Irish and Man United go hand in hand. If you look at the history, Man United and Ireland are very intertwined. They're very close, you know. And when you go back to the Munich air disaster and you go back to all that as well, you go back to George Best, of course. Great people, salt of the earth people. And they fit Man United very well, I would say. They fit Man United very well. Because what Man United are, if people learn about the history of Manchester United and where we come from as a football club, you know, Ireland and Manchester are very, very close. You know, they're very, very close. And I think we should be looking back at that and start going back to our roots a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Just start going back to that sort of thing, you know, because we have lost our way in regards to that historically. You know, historically, we've lost our way. I would say that, you know. And, that would be great. If we could find another Roy Keane, that would be great. Is there anyone up in Cork? Is there anyone there? We got another Roy Keane there somewhere, please? You know what I mean? Look, I was raised at Man United. I went to many games in the 98-99 season as well. And what Roy Keane did and Dennis Irwin as well were absolutely phenomenal what they did. Absolutely phenomenal. You know, yeah, there's been Irish players who come to Man United, Phil Moran, and there's other players that have come through the door and it hasn't quite worked out. But when you think about Dennis Irwin and Roy, I actually believe that Dennis Irwin is in the top 3 left backs of all time. I actually think that. I think the only ones who can compete with him for me is Roberto Carlos, probably. This Roberto Carlos is Dennis Irwin. I think Ashley Cole was one of them. I think he was brilliant left back, but I think Dennis Irwin probably tops the lot. I liked Roberto Carlos, brilliant, but Dennis Irwin as a defender, as a free kick taker, as a crosser of the ball, as an assister, as a penalty taker, he was immaculate. He was just, and a gentleman as well to boot. An absolute gentleman to boot as well. That's the one. Absolutely, Dale. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned him a week ago, you know, and yeah, people are like, who's he? Who's that guy we're signing? We're not going to sign any more players. And there you go, guys. I told you we're going to sign a Roscoe. Yeah, there we go, guys. It's a week ago, about a week or 2 weeks ago. I mentioned him in the stream, guys. Yeah, guys, I want to thank everyone for joining me. Thank you very much. Big up LT, by the way. Thank you so much, my guy. Yeah, we need players who can put in a shift. I really appreciate everyone. I'll see you in the morning. Have a great evening, great night, wherever you are in the world. Put your notifications on in case I go live, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, if something happens. Thank you, guys. I'm Sal Warner. This is Chatterbox. This is the match preview between Man United and Sunderland. I know it weren't much of a preview because obviously what everything is going on at the moment. But yeah, let's get it in, guys. Man United 2-1 win I'm going for. Get in there. Have a great evening, guys. Enjoy your sleep and get lots of rest and try not to stress too much. Happy birthday, Karen. Take it easy, guys. Peace.